Hey, how's it going? Before we jump into the content, I just want to take a minute to thank you for stopping by the channel and checking out the content. If you like this content and you want to support more content like it, then make sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video. You can also check out the YouTube membership program and cybertrainingpro.com, where I put practice exams and other things that I couldn't put on YouTube. Again, regardless of how you support the channel and my content, I couldn't be more appreciative. Thank you so much, and let's get into the content. Welcome back to Policy Writing 101 for GRC professionals. In this module, we'll focus on the critical aspects of policy enforcement and maintenance. We'll cover how to monitor compliance, address non-compliance, and use technology to manage policies effectively. We'll also look at the importance of regular policy reviews and updates to keep them relevant. Finally, we'll learn from real-world case studies, both successes and failures. Okay, let's get started. I want you to remember that writing a policy is just the beginning. The real challenge is actually ensuring that the policy is followed. That requires a robust compliance and enforcement strategy in your organization. Let's go ahead and break down the key steps. Monitoring compliance is essential for identifying gaps and areas for improvement. Regular audits and assessments help you actually measure how your policy is being followed throughout your organization. So you'll see people that have these clipboards that are walking around your organization, they're doing audits, and they're just doing assessments on your policy enforcement and how well people are following it. You need to schedule routine audits to review compliance with key policies. So policies like information security or data privacy policies. These are really important in your organization. You want to use both internal and external auditors to actually get a comprehensive view of your organization and of your program. You don't want to just rely on one specific one, because then you're not going to get that full view of everything. Assessments can also include interviews, document reviews, and technical testing depending on the policy. So I've been a part of all kinds of different audits in many different organizations, and they can definitely vary based on the standard, the framework, whatever the requirement is, but there are absolutely ones that are going to require you actually to have interviews and talk to people within your organization to make sure that you're actually compliant. When you identify non-compliance, and you're going to in your organization, it's crucial that you address it promptly and effectively. This involves both disciplinary actions and corrective measures to correct the problem. Now, disciplinary actions should be consistent with your organization's HR policies and proportional to the severity of the actual violation. If it's a very minor thing, you're not going to go and fire the person most likely, but if it's very severe, taking data, those kinds of things, you might actually terminate that employee. Corrective measures, on the other hand, are different because they focus on preventing future non-compliance. This could involve additional training, revising procedures, or even updating the policy itself to make sure it's relevant and accurate for the time. Technology can play a significant role in effective policy management. Using the right tools can streamline enforcement and compliance tracking. Consider using policy management software that allows you to distribute the policies, track acknowledgments so when people read them and accept them, and monitor compliance in real time. One of the nice things that you can do is you can use these learning management systems, or LMSs, and you can integrate policy training with assessments. So you can actually test people or quiz people on their comprehension of the actual policy. They can also do automated reminders for tracking features, so that way nobody falls through the cracks when they have to go annually to actually review those policies again and make sure they still comply with those policies. Now that we've covered compliance and enforcement, let's talk about how you can keep your policies up to date and relevant over time. One thing you have to keep in mind is that policies aren't a static document. You don't just create them and they sit there forever. You have to update them. They need to evolve as your organization grows and the regulatory landscape changes. Let's go ahead and take a look at how to establish a solid review and update process. Not only is establishing regular review cycles a best practice for policy management, it's also a requirement for a lot of standards like ISO 27001. Depending on the policy, you could have a review annually, so every year, biannually, twice a year, or it could be triggered by specific events like a regulatory change or an internal audit. You have to set a schedule for each policy and ensure it's adhered to. You should assign responsibilities to specific roles or departments to review the policy, evaluate its effectiveness, and recommend updates as necessary. Again, if there's changes in regulations, industry standards, or your organization's structure, you have to make sure they're up to date. Failing to do so can result in non-compliance and increased risk. You have to stay informed about regulatory changes that impact your business or industry. So things like GDPR, CCPA, DORA, There's all kinds of different ones out there that could impact you. Also, if business processes change or new technology is implemented, you have to make sure your policies are updated, or at least that they're current with what you have implemented. If there's a new version to a policy, you have to document everything very carefully. You want to have a full history of what happened. So you want to know who made the changes, what they changed. You want to know when they changed it. You want to know who approved it. These are all very, very important things that have to be tracked in your policy version history. Every version of your policy is going to have this table, and it's going to have all this information that has to be tracked in there. So again, the date it was made, who did it, what they changed, who approved it, all of those things are very, very important. So if you have to go back and look at them, you can go through that full history and understand that evolution of the policy. This is also critical for any compliance audits, and it provides transparency. Let's shift gears and talk about some real-world examples to see how effective policy enforcement and maintenance can impact an organization. First, I want to start with a success story. That way you have a good idea of what a good environment is like. Consider a financial services company that implemented a comprehensive data privacy policy following a series of internal data breaches. The policy was aligned with GDPR and other relevant regulations and included detailed procedures for data handling, employee training, and regular audits. After implementing the policy, the company saw a 70% reduction in data incidents within the first year. This success was attributed to strong leadership support, effective training programs, and regular compliance monitoring. This case highlights the importance of a well-informed policy and the positive impact it can have on reducing risk. Now let's talk about a case where poor policy enforcement led to significant consequences. A large healthcare organization had a policy in place for securing patient data, but it wasn't enforced consistently. Regular audits were not conducted and employees weren't properly trained on the policy. This led to a massive data breach exposing sensitive patient information. The breach resulted in hefty fines and significant damage to the organization's reputation. An internal investigation revealed that several employees were unaware of the policy, and those who did know about it didn't follow the procedures because there was no enforcement. This case underscores the risks of ineffective policy enforcement and the importance of continuous training and monitoring. These case studies show it's not just about how well written your policy is, it's about the ability to enforce it and maintain it. Regular reviews, continuous training, and robust compliance monitoring are essential components of this process. That completes this module. In the next module, we'll discuss more about aligning your policies with industry standards. I'll see you there.